Okay, welcome listeners and or viewers. This is the medspa Marketing Secrets podcast. I'm your host, Matt Coffey. We're going to be going through a quick review of a very interesting medspa audit. Now, this is the first time we're presenting an audit on this channel, and I think this is something that a lot of people, if they're listening to this channel or watching this channel, can get a lot of value out of, because it goes through very specific things that we find that are very common in a lot of med spas, to give them some challenges on their marketing strategy that right out of the gate you can see almost all the time. We see similar models. I thought this was a great one to share. Enjoy this. You're going to get a lot of value out of this. Watch through this, the pieces of the puzzle that's, well, sort of become obvious after a little bit of time, but in all reality, we fix these situations for lots of clients. Just like yourself, if you're listening to this, if you need help, certainly reach out to us. But enjoy the audit, and you'll find that this will be a pretty comprehensive strategy as well, from a perspective of listening for the solutions to what should be done in order to correct the measures that we point out in this video. Okay, so we're going to do the audit for new medical spa in the just Richmond, Virginia area. Obviously, the site is pretty well thought out. So, we've got a lot of general attraction factors that you'd have. But the one thing we noticed that there's not a call to action here. We see the button, but we really don't have an offer. And to simplify matters, we want to try and take any calls to action in general as we move from all the mobile devices right on the front page. We never want to push someone to another page to get data. So we can see, even if we do select this, select an appointment, it takes you to a blank page because in this particular case, you have to have some sort of cookies enabled. And I enabled them afterwards, but this is what I got first. So we have to be very careful about this, because you have to test on all browsers and make sure you've tested these things out. This could be instant bounce backs. What I mean about doing, when we look at doing auditing, we think about 3 or 4 major components. One is the website, then the ads, and then looking at secondary, tertiary solutions. But in this case, we can see, in the case of a med spa, we're sort of a mixed messaging here. And I understand this is a multiple type of med spa with some athletic, weight management, plus aesthetic. So you have a sort of a challenge of what you put up front. And in most of the cases, what we suggest is to put an offer up front that makes sense for the entire practice. I'll show you some examples here. Here's one where they've given, the homepage has just a $100 gift certificate claim. This really works well and allows the customer to choose whatever they want. So you're not getting them into one particular bucket. Here's another one that's just asking for just giving the request an appointment. Similar, but the content's right there, and you're not going to another form. You're grabbing the information right here, and this will take you to a secondary calendaring function. So you have to be careful about how your customer experiences are through the journey. Right away, when we see a site like this, when we see that there's elements of like shop, to take them off, and shop up here and shop, there's always a concern that you're taking the customer to another website and they don't come back. Because once they go to this site and then they get lost in this, you've lost them as a physical customer. You might buy something, but the question is that what you're trying to do? You're trying to get them through the process of going through a shopping cart, or you trying to get them through as a customer? And I'd always be careful about how, unless this is the main part of the business where you're making money, you have to be very thoughtful about this and wrap these very carefully because you're actually taking them off the site. So these are things to consider when you're doing this type of business. If we go to a standalone page, we can see that there is no offer, and there's combined book line, call now, shop. So it's sort of, you throw all the stuff at the bottom. When people come up to the top, this is where the offer should be, right? Because this is what they're coming onto. And when you look at this from a mobile device, so you can see this, it's critically important to understand that your vision is really going to be chopped down to this. So here's your mobile device, and your offer again is not there. So if they're coming to the page, like, okay, I know how it works. Where's my appointment? And then they're gone by the time. Oh, and there it's all squished together into one thing. So I would definitely want to put an offer up here. I'll give you an example. Here's a Botox landing page, right, where it's particularly done and really thought about for mobile, right? So you get to the mobile page, you're basically you want to claim this, right? You're getting, and then it goes into the details, right? But again, once they claim the discount, it takes them to the secondary page, which puts them into the calendar spot. So all these sort of simple things that are on a website need to be considered when you start talking about this, especially if you've got, all these multiple things for every single page. It becomes challenging. So you don't have to rework the planet here, but you have to sort of think through customer journeys and making it easy for them, especially on a page-by-page basis if you're running ads. And we'll get into the ads next. So we want to take a look at the Facebook ads, and we can see that the ad copy is very loosely defined and without a call to action, and a book now button, which goes to a Facebook internal page, which doesn't seem to have as good traction as bring him to a landing page with a direct offer claiming. And this is, again, sort of like the 101s. We can see that there's another one here. Trying to put the website within the framework of Facebook is interesting. Again, these don't typically convert very well because they have challenges with collecting the data. If you're trying to collect data, you bring them back to a landing page that says, okay, click here and get your entry. But I think in general, what I'm seeing is that there's sort of limited thought to how the ad sets are set up. It's almost like they're haphazardly just do this, do that. Let's try this. Here's the Botox one, which is the first one I've seen. Looks like it's been thought about, but we're not giving anybody any particular details. You have to be careful about how you position the language here, which is it should be specific for not an area, but you really have to think about the person who's doing this. And if we look at this and it says learn more, we don't really go to a page. It's internal. Same thing here. We've got shop more. So these are going to just general pages, right? So there's not a real offer in this. It's almost as if it's just a general post. Another one, and again, I think this is the best one so far, but I'm trying to understand the call to action strategy. There's really very thin copy here. So let's take a look at what one would do in the professional world. So we're going to go to another client. You see that this is very evident about what the offer is, and it's a gift certificate, right? And so you're really driving the person to the landing page. So if I hit this button, and there's multiple, you see there's 3 different versions of this ad, and this does really well, and it tells you the offer. And it takes you back specifically to the landing page, which says the same thing, right? And again, when we're in mobile, most of the time, this is what they're going to see. So they're going from the journey of seeing what they want and then claiming it on a landing page within the site. And what you want to do when you bring them to a website is you want to make sure you're giving them the right experience. Another thing is a lot of these videos are working really well. Real action, like things that are doing well. You can see here, there's actual videos that are clicking back to these landing pages that have got offers. So also think about what the customer's attention span is. If they see something that they're interested in, they actually want to see the procedure or a piece of the procedure, and that's very helpful. So we can go back to that, and we can go back to the ad sets, and we can see again, it because there's not, you're not continuing the sales dialogue, and it's very thin on the dialogue. It doesn't tell you what you're actually going to receive, right? Claim your Botox 100% da da da. Up here, you're sort of just throwing a couple of headlines, and $100, $150 of what per area. It's almost as if, but I don't know what I don't know what this means. And I think you have to get very stringent with how you do this, because patients get very confused, or can be. Yeah, it's almost as if there's just a lot of missing stuff. And here's the links. And so it's taking the links over to privacy policy, which is odd. So I'm not sure what the plan was here, but to me, I would be very careful about when you run ads, is that you tell them exactly what they're going to get, and then put the offer in that, and then drive them back to the landing page. So it's very clear. So again, doing really good ads is incredibly important when you start talking about doing running ads. As far as I can see from organic, looks pretty decent. I'd like to see some videos in here instead of just static, because obviously it makes sense. So let's go back to now looking at organic. So the traffic going to the website, one of the things you notice right away, and here's the location up in this neck of the woods. There's about 10 or 15 different in the med spas in the area, or spas in the area, you could say. Some are running ads. I've done med spa near me, and that's the term that would come up. So if you've got your typical affiliate partners, or I guess you could call them sort of chain med spas. There's Sona, there's other ones that are in here, but they're also running ads on top of everything. And it looks like there's a couple of these glow med spas that are in here, and although they're probably the same thing, they've got it listed twice. And here's this one that we're working on here. So you're down, and this is specific to if someone searched from Glen Allen, right? So I've got the location specific to the town. So you're not coming up on the top. And also, what's interesting is that you're listed very oddly. And this is causing a problem for Google to figure out what you are. So if we go to the listing itself, we see this is listed as a doctor, not a med spa. So this is the big challenge with a lot of people who put up these Google map listings. They don't even fill them out so that Google can figure out what you do. So Google thinks that this is a doctor's location. That's why you're not ranking very well for the maps location. If we, again, we just type in meds. Let's do Botox near me, right? That's a good one. Near me. You wouldn't be able to come up with top because Google would say, okay, who's the nearest med spa, not the nearest doctor. Even though you have the med spa in your title, which helps, you really have to think about the fact that you are a med spa. So this will come up first. You can see, this is medical spa. See the difference? So you're not going to be listed properly, and so you'll miss all those near-term organic. So that's right away to fix. And then you can start running a bunch of Q&As on the bottom of your Google My Business places to get tons of traffic for things that are related to the topic. And that goes back to, now we can look at now the organic traffic. We can see here's same thing. There's a real effort to get the doctor pushed into this, and the clients, although it's important for you, it's not important for the client. The clients want to go to a med spa. Or if they're new, they don't know you anyways. So you have to be very careful about how you're going to approach this. So this is the title of the website that the systems are pulling up. So you can see the traffic that's come in is almost negligible. 20, 35, 6, 50 hits a month. Even your nearest competitor, who's a kind of quasi med spa, and they're not even really, they're still hitting 4,000 hits of traffic. It's like 400 times the amount of traffic is coming to this site just because they're listed as properly as a med spa. Now, does that mean that they're getting all the traffic from their map looking? No. But in general, the theory is that you have to think about the customer journey. So they're going to try this, and this might not even be the right spot, but there's so much traffic going to this. It's just, it's inconvenient to even consider any other options when you start to think about this. So let's go back and let's take that other Rejuvenate MD, which seemed to be one of the more popular local med spas that was a true med spa, or at least somewhat. And then let's drop them into that same tool and see what their differences in the traffic. So just to kind of put a more traditional. Right, so the traffic spikes to 750, 250, so 10 times the amount of traffic, or a good solid amount of traffic. Again, going back to your zero traffic really coming. I mean, there's literally no traffic. So again, 2 or 3 things. One, you have to fix the map places here for sure. That's a huge change in the game, because then you'll be found properly from Google's perspective. And then start to run organic traffic back to the website. And there's, one of the things you can see right away is that the site itself, although attractive, has got some challenges with how the infrastructure is built. If you even just take a look at one of the service pages, we'll just go to Botox, and we'll see how it's listed. Ooh. So, the description, in your metas is just so over. It's actually truncated. So, whoever did this needs to fill it out. It should just say Botox near Richmond, because that's what you really want, right? So, the title is not correct either. Botox New Medical Spa. It should say Botox Richmond, right? Because that's what you really want, is the people who are looking. So you have to think about all these things when you start doing this, and we can certainly go into details with SEO stories, but getting the pages properly set up and getting them fixed is a really important thing to consider when you start thinking about the process. So we'll recap back about all the stuff that we've talked about so far. We didn't get into AdWords or anything, but I think incredibly important. And I didn't actually even get into any of the Instagram, because I think you could literally stop right now and say, okay, correct the language on the front, put an offer at least on each page so that you're getting good offers when people come to the page. Correct the Facebook ads so that they're specific and very, very, very specific to what you're trying to do. They should have exactly what's going to happen. Leave no confusion. And do things that are in the market that are being sold that you can map to. We know that for sure there is plenty of lead flow management, but they should also be dropped back to landing pages with offers that are very clear and concise, and that makes sense. The things that we also know from our experience in doing this is that customers are very fickle, and you have to follow up with them. And I'm going to show you that in a second, where you can see the follow-up strategy. The key here is that from the organic standpoint, get the maps cleaned up, get this to be over 100 at least. It should be a couple hundred hits by getting the pages appropriately set up with good SEO, and that will drive organic traffic, because literally it's not even found, because there's no traffic at all. We can tell. You're really sort of not even existing in Google's world if you're getting 20 hits of traffic a month. That's just not even substantial enough to get on the radar screen. So doing the proper ads, getting good SEO. Now in comes the leads. There are good landing pages. There's good offers. There's good offer strategy. So how do you capture it and make sure you're following up? So we have something to show here, which is Profit Engines, which is our tool that manages. So if you're a site like this, I'll give you an example. So this is Aesthetica. So people are, same thing, Facebook ads and good SEO. They're coming to these landing pages, and no matter what it is, they're getting an offer, presented to them, and they're coming back and they're getting their phone number and their information. They're claiming the discount, right? So claim your $100 discount. You can see it's right there. Great. I didn't put my information in, but you get the concept. But that all comes back to here, which is their pipeline. So if I put myself in as an opportunity, or if I just put myself in as an opportunity, I would show up right here in the opportunity as a new lead. And you can see there's new leads, not ready yet, hot leads, consult schedules, no-shows, services sold. So we go back to this, and they've got different owners who are managing these pipelines. Right now there's one person managing the pipeline. That's why you see one face there, but you could have multiple owners. But the concept is once this lead comes in, you can see contact page, contact homepage, dermaplaning, this, that, the other thing. So here's this lead. This person's information is there. And as you begin to contact them and move them down the pipeline, you can use this tool to simply manage the pipeline. Just move them down, from where they are. But the magic behind this is all the follow-up systems. So the follow-up systems are in here, and you'll see campaigns. We can see that there's a $100 gift claim. So when they claim the offer, a few seconds later they get an SMS. Hey, thanks for claiming the offer. Next step is to book your appointment. So it asks them to go into the booking calendar, and you can see that there's another email, another email, another email, and you could go on forever. This could be following up. So the systems are automatically following up and asking them to book on the calendar, and the calendar gets filled out, and I can take you through that real quickly here. That will give you the information that you'll see. And there's another video about this that takes people through the whole experience that we have available. But right now, this is the process of getting them to the calendar. And the calendaring function is very easy. It just drops them into a calendar. So once they've, and I'll go through just the experience. So I'll put in my name here, and you'll see what will happen. Okay, I'm going to claim my discount. And great, now pick a time. Right, so it's asking me to pick a time right away. So again, if I don't book right here, right after picking the time, my phone just rang with claiming the discount. So now it's asking me on my phone to claim my time, to claim my appointment. So this automatic self-scheduling is really critically important. And that's what's going to drive it. And each stage of that pipeline has its own formatting. So hot leads get a different set of formatting. So once you move them out of the new leads, they move to a next set. So if I just went in and did consult schedule, let's just say I'm this person, you'll actually see my conversation that goes back and forth. So here's claim, here is the secondary text, and it looks like the claim was made by the second email or second text message that came in the following day. So they claimed on the second day. But you can also talk to this person right now and say, hey, thanks for claiming. So there's a way to communicate with the client as well from a centralized portal. So we can email and text the person through the conversation if you need to. And a lot of the closings are done that way. In fact, you'll probably see that generally in the hot leads category, there has been conversations. So maybe they hadn't booked, but there is some interest. So maybe we can go in and take a look at this. Aha. So here's a long conversation. Here's the claim. There's the esthetician asking, yes, I'm interested. Okay, when can you come out? Can't come in this week till Saturday. Okay, you have ability to 3 times? Yes. Okay, perfect. See you next week. So this person closed via text, right? So having conversations via text, very interesting. You can always call the person directly through this. You can click on the call button and initiate a call, right? I shouldn't have called that person. They're probably thinking I'm nuts. But anyways, the concept is that this is all done from a centralized command portal, and all your details and data is in here, which is that there is a opportunity, a pipeline value, conversion rates. All your phone calls and conversations are also tracked in here. The call status, call logs are all in here, and what's interesting, if you think about this from a top level perspective, is that you can now look at your call logs. You can then go and listen to the phone calls, inbound and outbound, and do break fix with your front end or your front desk, and really, kind of get an understanding of what's going on in the practice, a heartbeat of what it is. And that's something that really impacts the business because you start to really get good things. The last thing is to do reputation management. So what we can do is we can then, again, check in a patient. I'll put in my information, send a request, and what you'll see is, we can check the client in from a perspective of getting I'll show you what this looks like on my side, which is that I will actually get an email that will take me right to their Google Places page to review. And it forces me right into the sector where it is. You can see here, we'd love your feedback. Click the button. Leave a review. I click the leave review button, and it's actually going to open me right up to the Google My Places business map. So it literally creates the pop-up window to pull up as well, so that I'm actually now given right now the opportunity to put in my 5-star review and add pictures and stuff like that. So again, it's a full service sort of strategy when you start thinking about the whole entire enchilada. So I hope this helps. I think this is something that will be dramatic to help new medical spa in its growth. And this is very key to a lot of folks that we work with, where this is the initial starting point of their journey to help build a better bridge to the customer, communicate with them, manage them in the pipeline, especially if they're running ads, and have a much better successful strategy in containing and managing growth with some really good tools, tech stacks, and strategy. All right. Hope you enjoyed.